Good morning, welcome again to the GDFL Footy Show, coming to you out of Geelong on a very cold Saturday morning. It certainly has been cold this week, hasn't it? It sure has. And of course, last weekend, as we're running into the second half of the season now, some big wins last week, and none bigger than the Inverleigh Hawks, who caused the upset of 2011 and knocked off the Belpost Hill Panthers. That's right, folks, do not adjust your television. The Belpost Hill Panthers got a flogging after they actually beat East Geelong the week before in the big showdown of 2011. Well done to the Inverleigh Hawks. I reckon they'll be still celebrating. East Geelong Eagles, too good for the Tommy Tigers, the Violet Crumbles, out of the Godfrey Street Thunderdome, the Battle of the Roundabout. Lucas Murphy continues his goal-kicking spree in 2011 with 7 goals. Werribee Central's too good for Geelong West, an absolute belting there. Poor old West, they really couldn't raise a gallop there. And of course, Rosenweed once again amongst the goal-kicking there. Out of the Gun Club, Winchelsea too good for the Bannockburn Tigers. Yeah, the Winchelsea Blues going along right there. I tell you what, they haven't been playing well, but they turned on a beauty last Saturday. The Belmont Lions, our producer, is absolutely on fire this morning. They knocked off the Corio Devils with Ben Miller, sensational in defence, absolutely magnificent. One of the great fullbacks in country footy. Well done, Ben. Kept the Corio Devils down to a mediocre score. And the 94.7 match of the round, the Anarchy Roos, too good for the North Geelong Magpies, and they are gone in 2011. Failed to produce. That's right, 94.7, the Pulse, your home of country football, with Nicholas Costello kicking 5 goals for the Anarchy Roos, and Paul Briggy continuing on his great goal kicking for 2011 with 5 goals, and takes his tally up to, I haven't got a clue because I didn't write it down, but I'm sure he's going along very, very well. Now, we'll have a look at the ladder now before we move on to introduce our guest this morning. And the ladder coming up on the screen now as we speak. There it comes, just about. I'll just add a little bit of it to sink. No, you don't. Thank goodness for that. On top of the ladder, East Geelong Eagles on 11 wins, 1 loss, followed by Belpost Hill, having lost their first game to the Inverleigh Hawks, 11-1 there. Werribee Central's, Inverleigh and Anarchy. And one could just about say, and I'll ask Dale in a minute whether he thinks that final 5 just might be intact for the season now. Followed by the Tommy Tigers knocking on the door. North Geelong gone. Bannockburn, Corio, Winchelsea, Belmont Lions creeping up. They might even have another win this afternoon. And on the bottom of the ladder, the Geelong West Cheetahs unable to have a win at this stage. Now we're going to cross now to an interview now that was done last Saturday afternoon after the North Geelong Anarchy clash out at the Keith Barclay Oval. It's Cal Lowther talking to the coach of the Anarchy Roos, Daniel Gibbs. Here they go.
Dan, a game that to and fro a bit. You got up a good first quarter, but in the last quarter there, you're able to kick away as well and get a very good victory.
Yeah, that's right. First quarter we had the win. I think it was probably a 5-goal win, and we used it well in the first quarter. And then North Geelong didn't use it in the second, but in the third quarter we didn't use it either. It was just whoever used that win, I think, and we paid off. We had to chase back in the last quarter.
Yeah. Were you happy with how your forward line worked today? It was obviously very successful with Yalch up forward and Nick Costello doing very well.
Yeah, well, we haven't usually done it. They've actually worked really well today. We put them down there deep. They're both small, quick, and they both can play football. But normally we've got Slugger down there, but we pushed Cozzy down there, and Cozzy done the job, so he kicked 5 goals, and Yelson kicked 4, so can't ask for much more than that.
Yeah. Are you happy with, in the third quarter, obviously, I don't know if you thought so, but some of your players a bit slack defensively to get back, and, you sort of conceded a lead that you thought you might have been able to take in the last quarter?
Yeah, that's what I mentioned at three-quarter time. I spoke to the boys, and I said that we'll just chasing North Geelong behind, and they were prepared to push and run, and we were lazy. But and that hurt us. We're lucky really to come away with it. Yeah. We had to work hard in the last quarter, and so.
Yeah. And for this season, obviously this win was pretty important because now you've got a 2-game lead in the finals.
Oh well, that's right. We really need it. Every week's important to us, and today was really important to put us 2 games in. Now we come up against Werribee, which is another tough game, and just take 1 week at a time, and we're still not talking finals there. We just keep the boys together and just keep confident. That's about it.
And welcome back, and a great interview there from Cal Lowther with the winning coach of the Anarchy Roos, Daniel Gibbs. And speaking of him, well, we just might be seeing him very, very shortly, because once again, I have assembled some of the biggest names and brains in local football to articulate, communicate, but not procrastinate. First of all, the Bannockburn legend, Dale Smith. Good morning, Dale.
No, good morning, Dick. Nice to be back again. As I said, ordinary week, and let's hope something fines up this afternoon for a good game of footy.
And the wonders of technology. We just had him on the screen, interviewed last Saturday afternoon, and here he is Saturday morning, bright and breezy, on his way to a big game with the Anarchy Roos this afternoon. The coach of the Anarchy Footy Club, Daniel Gibbs. G'day, Gibbsy.
Good morning, Dick.
Great to have you here, mate.
Thanks, mate.
And once upon a time, you were a North Geelong man, but I'll forgive you for that. You used to play for us, and I shouldn't say us, we're supposed to be neutral on this show, but now you're at Anarchy and enjoying your footy out there as well.
Yeah, no, it's really good out there.
Good on you, mate. We'll have a bit of a chat to you
Used to
later
play
on.
for us too.
Been everywhere. You've been a few clubs too, Smithy, haven't you?
Oh yeah, I have.
Yeah. But at least you've actually not, you haven't been to many GDFL clubs, have you?
One.
Only
Oh,
Bannock,
two.
mate.
Three.
Oh, here we go.
Two.
Three.
There's nothing like loyalty in football. Where have you been?
Well, I started my footy in Inverleigh,
Yeah.
and then I went to Belpost Hill
Yeah.
after a trip or two and finished at Bannockburn.
So you've been sacked at 2 clubs and you turn up at Bannockburn.
Pretty much right.
Fair enough, mate. So now, a game last Saturday afternoon was the 94.7 match of the round, of course, and I think a lot of people expected North Geelong to really come back and have a crack, but they failed in that last quarter, didn't they?
Well, if you're a betting man, dig at three-quarter time, you would have got everything out of your pocket and laid up on North Geelong because they seemed to have the run of the game at that stage, and they'd been a really good contest, pretty free-flowing, and I was pretty impressed with both sides in different patches. But as I said, coming up to three-quarter time, I just felt the momentum had shifted back towards North Geelong, and I suppose Dan, I'll ask him later on, but he would have been a worried man going at three-quarter time. But to their credit, they raised another effort. Costello was good in the last quarter. Pittman, especially in the last quarter, took some telling marks through that centre-half forward position, and that really set them up. And look, it finished out that they won by 3 or 4 goals and comfortable in the end, and it was a pretty impressive display. And, you know, they've got another chance this weekend to maybe secure that 5th spot.
North Geelong are gone now, aren't they? There's no possibility they can make the finals.
Oh,
now.
look, mathematically, yes, Dick, they can, but
Yeah.
there's no chance on current form and the way they're playing, and their season's basically gone now.
How do you lose a game when you've got a hurricane blowing behind you going into the last quarter and you actually hit the front and you lose that momentum? That's what I want to know.
Well, we've got to ask Dan later on, but as I said, it was just a shift in the game, and it was a pretty impressive shift because they just got the ball through the middle of the ground, and that's, I think, the big point is they've been able to win the ball through the middle and get it in forward, and they had complete players in front roving well, and as I said, create opportunities. Sluggett was also another good player in that last quarter, so their on-ball brigade was handy all day.
Yeah, great effort by the Anarchy Roos, and we'll be talking to Dan Gibbs about his footy club after the break. It reminds me of that. We're going to take a break now, pay some bills, and we'll be back after this.
Let's get it.